Can you hear me, Corey?
Yes, we can.
All right.
And Steve, I'm going to have to log off here after we get everything set up. And I'll turn over the host responsibilities to you when we
Okay.
get everything set up. So I can stay on it for a couple more minutes.
Okay. I think we may be, Memorial Day is Monday, right? That might be, people may
Yeah,
be
that
taking,
could be a challenge
yeah,
for us, but
yeah,
these are the dedicated uh, planners, though.
right. Gideon's Army. I mean, I haven't seen anyone from Houseal Lavigne yet.
Hi, Stephen and Corey. We're the only three.
No, we're up to six now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just try to get.
And that doesn't count. I don't think anyone on this call yet is from Houseal Lavigne, and they're going to be the presenters. So
Oh, I
we,
see.
it looks like that. I think we'll at least have as many, what do you call it, in the audience as on the stage, put it that way.
Okay. Okay.
But like Corey said, I think this is the beginning of a long weekend. So I think we were rolling the dice in the first place. But we're doing webinars the next two Fridays. Private Practice Division is set up through the Ohio Webcast Series to do one next Friday on the Housing Supply Accelerator and another one on June 5th on multimodal transportation impact studies. And those would be for CM credits. So this is, kind of, we wanted to get this one in to keep our conversation schedule on track. But we've got a couple of other opportunities for similar experiences, and those would be for credit. This is more conversational. Actually, if this, depending on how this one goes, we could develop this up into a webinar. This is what we did with the Housing Supply Accelerator. We had a conversation on that in December, and now we're doing a webinar on it for credit next week.
Okay, great.
So we have a new professional development officer, Vince Cotero, and he's set us up to do conversations all through the summer. The last few years we've been laying off in July and August, but not this year. We're going to be going straight on through.
All right. Well, I'll be traveling the next Tuesday through Thursday, so Friday will be okay. I think I can get it.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Monday is a holiday, so that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Right.
So I don't, have you done a conversation before, Lou? I'm not sure. Have you,
What I joined once, yeah, probably more than a month ago, probably a month and a half,
oh,
something.
okay. Okay.
Before the national conference.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, but I did watch what you did in the conference. It did sounds like have fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've got some new faces here,
All right.
in addition to some standbys. Corey is manning the controls, and then I guess he's going to turn them over to me at some point. So I
Okay.
can't make any promises after that, but I'll do my best.
I see.
And I found out at the conference that there's at least one person who's been following the PPD conversations through transcriptions, video transcriptions. So we
Oh,
may have additional market or something. This
Oh.
could be a podcast. I don't even know what a podcast is. I'm 75 years old, but this is it's starting to look like one.
I'm learning too. I think what you did is a podcast.
Yeah. I don't. Nobody has a pod anymore, so I really don't know.
Right. Well, how was that last conversation where I was here about insurance, private practice insurance?
Oh yeah.
Did you have that?
The last conversation we had was kind of feedback from the conference. And the conversation that you were on was probably in anticipation of the conference.
Right.
And I can tell you that insurance was brought up by a number of people. It's not just the private practice division anymore. A member of the board of directors who was also on the call in March told me at the conference that he's starting to hear from chapter presidents with the same concern. And the top leadership at the APA, the CEO and the CFO,
Mhm.
both talked about insurance with me at the conference. So I think we're getting somewhere. Got
So
to
the
keep.
APA will kind of put together something that we can all join.
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the next step will be, but on my plate, I want to look at what other. I want to prepare a memorandum to submit to the APA leadership. Um, this basically summarizes. I mean, Corey did some of this legwork already, but the ASLA and the AIA both have packages that we could uh, use as prototypes. And we found out at the March conference that the Canadian version of the APA also has offers insurance to its members. So we just need to do a lot of peer review, I think, would be the important next step. And then
Yeah, last discussion, someone brought that up, the Canadian programs.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so funny. So I think it's going to fall on our plate. Although I'd rather hand it off to someone else, but I think it'll fall to us sometime in the next month or so to conduct a peer review and then submit it to the APA leadership for consideration.
Yeah.
But
Look out.
they're aware that it could be a means of attracting new members to the APA.
Yeah.
Sign up with us, get insurance, that kind of thing.
Yes, right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like getting
Well, it's particularly useful for small business.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
have to do it yourself, not only the
yeah.
cost, but also the liability and also
Yeah.
the
So,
real responsibility. Yeah.
it used to be if you opened a bank account, they'd give you a piece of Corningware. So this could be like that, you just, join the APA, get
Right.
get
Yeah.
insurance, that kind of thing.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. That's very good.
yeah, it's all and it's an essential need. I mean, there's
Right.
no doubting that. So, this wouldn't be the first time that the speaker came on last, but is someone here representing Houseal Lavigne? Oh dear. Um, let's see here. One thing we do in conversations, and maybe do it now before we get too many more people, we're up to four, I see 12, 15 names on my screen. So that's a decent crowd
Yes.
for a PPD conversation.
Yes.
But Curtis, I don't recognize your name. Have you been in a conversation before?
I have not.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about Nexus Planning Services.
Nexus Planning Services is based out of Spokane, super small, like private planning consultants, and led by principal planner Ryan Hughes. And yeah, we do all kinds of projects from comp plans to parks plans, community engagement plans throughout the Northwest USA.
Yeah, I think Ryan is the name I recognize from, he may have been on other conversations. So
Yeah.
that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, nice to meet you.
let me go quickly around to everybody else. I'm Steve Tucknell. I'm the chair of the private practice division, and I'm going to leave it at that so we can get everybody else in. Lou, tell us just 10
Yeah.
words about yourself.
Okay. Well, I briefly introduced myself last time, but I do again. But glad to do it. I'm basically an urban designer, but I run this also a small business called the Cityscapes Associates International. I've been practicing in the U.S. Since 1994, but I went to China for the last 20 years. But through this practice in both countries, I developed very good connections with many of the individual professionals and also some large firms in the different fields. I'm a city planner, but I work with architects, landscape architects, engineers, and various people in various fields. So we developed this kind of a network, and now I'm trying to use my firm as a platform to work with some of the professionals I met, and they're willing to work with me. So I'm developing a big team now.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Vince, you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Sure. Vince Cotero. I work for a mid-sized consulting firm in Fort Myers, Florida, about 55 people, planning, engineering, surveying. I'm vice president of planning department, and I'm a professional development chair for private practice.
Okay. Vince, could you kind of run this for a while as a professional volunteer? I'm going to try to get on the phone and see where
Sure.
what's going on with Houseal Lavigne. Thank you.
All right, no worries. Thank you. Okay, Colin.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Colin Cooper. I'm new to this division, and I'm 30 years, but I'm not new to planning. I'm 30-year public employee, and more recently, I've started working in the private sector for David Evans and Associates, a larger engineering firm. We have planners. I'm in a planning group from Los Angeles to Seattle. That sounds like a lot, but there's just 6 of us, and I have a lot to learn in the consulting side of planning. So wanted to join the division. Looking forward to these conversations. Thanks.
Welcome. We appreciate it. Brad?
Yeah, Brad Strader. I'm with Syncar Consulting, or also known as C2G in Detroit, Michigan. And I'm vice chair of the private practice division. And welcome to all of you, and hope everybody enjoys this conversation on GIS. Hopefully it'll start soon, and you all have a great holiday weekend as well.
Great, thank you. Jeff? You're muted, Jeff. Can anybody hear Jeff? I can't hear. No.
I can't either. Yeah. It's muted. Yeah. Okay.
Good now?
No.
No. All right. Let's see if we can work it out. Let's go to Corey.
I'm Corey Hall. I am the Eastern Regional Project Manager for the Ray Highway Foundation, a nonprofit based in Atlanta. I'm based in Middle Georgia myself, and I am the PPD Communications Chair.
Great. Okay, thanks. Emily?
Hi, my name's Emily Rizvik. I am a project planner out of Des Moines for, for Confluence. We are a landscape architecture firm and planning firm, so.
Okay.
Hi, Emily.
Welcome.
Can you guys hear me now?
Jeff, you're back. Okay.
Right.
All right. Sorry, Jeff Ray with JO Consulting in Omaha, private practice A&E firm, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Emily and I work together on lots of projects. So it's great to see some peers here. I am also the secretary and treasurer of this division.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Robert?
Hello, everyone. Robert Mansfield from RFM Land Use Consulting out of Madera, California. For those who do not know where that is, look on the California map, find Yosemite, go out the south entrance, and there you are. I specialize mostly in land use entitlements, but I also work on interfacing with local jurisdictions to help people from your everyday off the street individual all the way up to businesses work their way through the entitlement process and getting projects taken care of.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Rob?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rob Bacigalupi, and I'm in Northern Michigan, and I do primarily economic development work, but also a little bit of transportation, including with Mr. Strader. So it's good to see Brad on the call.
Okay. Megan?
Hi, yeah, I'm Megan Nelms. I'm also newer to the division. I work for Y2 Consultants. I'm in Wyoming. We have offices in Jackson and Cheyenne, a small firm. And I recently came from the public sector over to this side. However, we still do planning for smaller municipalities around the state. So I get a mix of private and public, but learning more about the private side.
Oh, great. Welcome. Adam?
Yes, good morning or afternoon. My name is Adam Rush. I'm a principal planner with Meridian Consultants. We are in Westlake Village, California. It's Ventura County, although I live in the Inland Empire, about an hour and a half east of Los Angeles. I'm a environmental planner and land use by trade, 15 years in the public sector and about 10 years in the private sector. And I am the membership chair for PPD. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome. Anthony, did we get you before or not?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, hello.
Steve, talk now.
Yeah. My name is Anthony
Yes, sir.
Malcione. I also work with Curtis at Nexus Planning. Curtis just had to go and drop off actually. I'll be listening for me and for him. Yeah, been with Nexus Planning for about a year, and I'm about to graduate with at Eastern Washington University with a master's in urban and regional planning.
Okay, thank you. Jason? I think you're on mute.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey guys, Jason Epley. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina with Benchmark Planning, and glad to be on the call. We've got a job opening for early career urban designer planner. If anybody wants to point somebody towards Charlotte, glad to get the resume.
Great, welcome. And Alara, welcome.
Hey, nice plug. My name is Alara Mills Gutcher, and I am a sole proprietor. I'm in Northwest Florida, and I'm glad to be here today.
Okay,
Alara,
hey, we got everybody introduced because Robert Kain just came on, and he's going to be
okay.
taking the presentation. This isn't the first time we've had time zone confusion, and I called him and he said he's looking forward to it at 4 o'clock. So here we are.
Yeah. Apologies, everyone. They sent me an invite for 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
So yeah, that happens. I don't even know what 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time is. Is it?
It's 3 hours different from the East Coast. That's all.
But in any case, here we are, and we've all introduced ourselves. So it's this happened once before, and it's kind of like the third man, where the star doesn't come in until the second reel. So
Yeah, just grand interest, right?
but that's so it is. But yeah, we are all looking forward to hearing from you, and now that we know all about each other, and it's a problem that I know I've had as a small practice, and I look forward to getting some tips and sharing some feedback from the people who are on the call. So take it away.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you. So yeah, I'm just gonna, Robert Kain with Houseal Lavigne. I'm gonna topic today, GIS on a shoestring budget. How online GIS tools are enabling planning professionals like yourselves with limited, if you have limited budgets in a small firm, not a lot of staff, some of the tools that enable that, able you to leverage GIS in this powerful platform. So I'm with Houseal Lavigne. We're an urban planning firm based out in Chicago, Illinois. We practice planning, zoning, urban design, and of course geospatial, and that's the focus of today. We are a global practice. We're a small practice, but a global practice, and we have fun with a lot of the work that we do. So we find interesting ways of applying digital tools and especially GIS into all of our projects. So we're growing and expanding, but we really see a lot of opportunity here in GIS, and that's what I wanted to focus on today. Again, Robert Kain, I'm the GIS integration manager at Houseal Lavigne. I've been a practicing planner for about 25 years, 10 years on the municipal side, and then for the past 15 years on the consultant side, really in this space between planning and GIS and how GIS can help us with planning workflows and how it enables us. In my first position as a planner at a staff planner at the city of Newport Beach here in California, I had no idea about GIS and quickly understood the value of it and watched it mature over the past 25 years to where we are today. I wanted to share sort of those insights and some of those opportunities that small practices and small jurisdictions have, with maybe limited budgets or limited staff resources to be able to still do some really good stuff with ArcGIS and the GIS platform. Houseal Lavigne's an Esri partner, and the solution I'm going to present today is Esri based, where we have specialty designations for several of their technologies. We're often asked to speak at Esri's conferences on innovation and the utilization of technology and GIS for planning purposes. Couple of things that we've done just with the platform that I'm going to introduce today. This is a small scenario plan that was done without any code. It was completely done within the browser, and this is a visualization of a potential Amazon data center in the township of, South Whitehall Township in Pennsylvania. And this is an interactive web scene where you can go and investigate and move around the space and look at this from multiple angles. So it's very interactive, something that the township actually just shared with their planning commission this past Wednesday. Another tool, and this is something that is more advanced, but we even started to get into the idea of programmatic planning of urban development, right? So this is an interactive web scene that was built for the city of Cypress, California, here in California, just kind of right in the northern end of Orange County, where they wanted to develop, a solution to accommodate affordable housing and infill development. So again, tools, I know this is more advanced, but this is some of the stuff that through our use of these tools that I'm going to introduce have matured and actually started to adopt these technologies in everything that we do. And again, I'm going to cover this also, but as part of the platform that I'm going to present, you can do story maps, right? These are very engaging kind of living documents that can be published without any code or coding. It's kind of a point and click, kind of what we would call a WYSIWYG type of experience, where you select pictures, you update it, you import them through the application, and then create a story around your development. We do this for all of our projects. It's really easy to do. It's very intuitive, and there's step-by-step approaches to that. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So, the topic of today is GIS on a shoestring budget. And ArcGIS Online is that enabling platform. It's a web-based GIS. And I know that, GIS, it often feels out of reach for small practices, or too technical, or too expensive, or too time consuming. And this platform, ArcGIS Online, kind of flips that script. It's web-based. It has a multitude of tools. It's designed for planners. I mean, it's really a tool that can help small practices get information out to their clients, very efficient and low effort, relatively speaking. And it allows small firms to compete and collaborate with larger teams without needing to build in infrastructure, right? So there's always that concern with small firms, building on a core discipline that you might not already have. With this platform, you don't really need to be a GIS expert. You just need to be a planner and just have a familiarity with the platform. So what are the workflows that you can do with this ArcGIS Online? You can do existing conditions, like web maps of existing conditions, like land use or zoning. You can use it for community engagement. It's a great community engagement platform where you can create websites very easily, project-based websites where you can share information, share updates, share documents, provide interactive maps, and even create surveys that you can get feedback, right? It's sort of that idea of, the traditional community engagement exercises that we've all done at, the local gym, where you invite a bunch of people on an evening during the middle of the week to come and provide their input. Well, sometimes not everybody can make that, have other obligations, and soccer practices and other things that take them away from being there physically. So having a virtual engagement platform online is it's just extending that engagement, right? So I'll talk a little bit about that. And just being able to visualize zoning, and 3D is now become very prominent in planning practice, right? Because it's just another way of telling the story of what is being proposed, and in a medium that is very, that everybody is well acquainted with, right? Because we live in a 3D world, right? So having and being able to describe issues or goals in 3D is just, we found that to be very, very helpful. And of course, you can create, you use these tools to follow and keep track of the progress, right? Again, this is just a subscription that you pay for. It's, ArcGIS it's like a Swiss Army knife. It's even for a one person shop can build beautiful functional maps and apps with really little effort. It's very, very intuitive. It comes with a multitude of tools. ArcGIS Line is the basis, and it provides web maps and the ability to do some very simple analysis, because it's connected with what they call the Living Atlas, which is socio-demographic information for your area. So you can quickly pull that right into the map. You don't have to go to another data set or join or create Excel spreadsheets. It's just right there, and it can visualize that on demand. Survey, I mentioned, surveys are great tools. This is part of that platform. Dashboards, to monitor or monitor indicators and visualize progress. So another functionality. Story maps to create engagement tools, like I had mentioned. I'll talk a little bit more about this. And web business analyst web app, right? So as part of this, you can do some very good, like, drive time analysis and kind of sector analysis here without using any additional tools. It's all within the same ArcGIS Online platform. Some of the applications, like, for example, this is just a simple web application for the city of Laguna Beach, where they have a front counter application, right? They provided the parcels. we got them up on ArcGIS Online. We configured them a tool very, very simply and very straightforward in a couple of hours to provide them with front counter applications so that people, this is web-based. So everybody that has internet access can access this application and look at details about that property that they're interested in. Another thing I had mentioned is story maps. These are those interactive stories, right? So we did this story map for the city of Riverside here in California again, where we walked through the constituents and the decision makers on the approach to finding affordable housing development in the city of Riverside. In California, we have to do housing elements updated every 7 years, and the city has to show their plan for the next 8 years, how they are going to facilitate the development. So using a tool, we identify those sites, but then we walk them through this document, a web-based document, again, just accessible with like Chrome or Microsoft Edge, walk them through the whole process. And sort of this, again, it's an interactive tool where we literally just inputted the maps and wrote the text and could build this in an afternoon, in a couple of hours. And that's just kind of walking through, again, it's that idea of sort of this interactive narrative about projects and backgrounds. And then there's just just different features within that. And then ultimately we're able to, this is an interactive map that visualized the built environment there so that you can sort of understand that context. And that leads me to ArcGIS Hub. So this again is part of ArcGIS Online. This is very much an example of like what we do, right? These community engagement and like I'd mentioned previously, ArcGIS Hub allows you to extend that conversation, extend that engagement, to get feedback like we always do in these great public events, but also just basically pushing that to a virtual event, allowing you to organize a meeting and some engagement and get some feedback online when people might not be able to make it to the event. And yeah, so I mean, again, it's like it's great when we're able to get the mass here to participate, but sometimes that's not always the case. So these online tools definitely facilitate that. This is an example of one of those pages for El Paso County. We helped that community very easily put together a hub website, right? A project website that talks about the goals and people are able to understand and get up to date, right? It's like a traditional project website, but you don't have to use a web builder. You can just do it all here in this ArcGIS Online application. And it gives you these opportunities to take questionnaires, like I had mentioned, and attend workshops, and talks about the planning process. So just another tool to engage the community, the constituents, the stakeholders, and to get and elicit feedback on their own time. Another thing that can be built, and this was a tool that we built that's, it's more advanced, but you can, go back, where you can visualize, in 3D, aspects of, in this particular case, Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. I think they've changed the name of the field at this point, but, just creating really powerful tools to basically further the story, the narrative. With that same tool, we enabled, and this is one of our clients. It's a small jurisdiction in Orange County. It's the Orange County Housing Finance Trust, and we stood them up a ArcGIS Online account and helped train them, and now they're running this mapping application and updating it on their own time. Right? No GIS staff no GIS experts on staff. It's just literally planners. Showed them a couple of things, and they're off to the races, and they're maintaining this. So it's another way this platform is to just enable and bring on that GIS capacity. Another application, which is actually on ArcGIS Online, but it's a tool that Houseal Lavigne has developed called Map Social. Again, it's that commenting app, right? A geo-specific way to have people on a map provide content, right? And so these are just some views of the application, but this is just another way of being able to elicit comments and continue that conversation on a web-based platform. And go to the next. So, and you can even provide simple analysis. This is not running any analysis outside of the application. It's actually within the application. You can start to look at metrics about the comments within a particular area. So again, it's just using these automated tools and these online tools that are very simple to implement, but are very powerful in their utility value. Another thing you can do, and this is sort of playing off of that what we showed previously, is dashboards, right? It's the idea of looking at metrics. Again, this is all within that platform where you can wire up those tools and see what's happening in real time. These are a couple of examples of dashboards that were developed for some of our communities and some of our clients, right? So we have private sector firms that we've enabled that we saw a lot of success. Atlas Planning is a hazard mitigation firm. It's about 5 people, but they're able to build these very robust solutions, web maps and analysis, and provide analysis and surveys to support their projects and dashboards. They don't have GIS experts on staff. We help enable them, put them on ArcGIS Online, and now they're off to the races, doing their own web mapping and creating their own surveys and dashboards to support their projects with no code, no GIS, just planners with a little bit of training and knowledge transfer, and they're off to the races too. And again, another nonprofit, Amplified Communities. They're a affordable housing developer, and so they're using this tool as a project engagement platform, using ArcGIS Hub and those surveys and dashboards to share and gain feedback for their affordable housing developments, engaging with the cities and of course developers in the community that is looking for these affordable housing developments. So again, it's just 2 examples of very small firms. I think Amplify is communities is a very small team of 5 individuals, no GIS background, but they're able to use these tools to really leverage the technologies to extend the success and efficiency of their projects. Couple of examples of enablements that we've done for small organizations. South Orange County Wastewater Authority, setting them up a portal that they can build maps. City of Taft, no planning staff, one planner. He's the director. He runs the counter, the building division, and the planning division. So having this GIS portal available answers a lot of questions that he typically fielded over the phone. Now people can find that information. And again, this was a tool that was built in an afternoon and has been running in their organization for a number of years now. And then I had mentioned Orange County Housing Finance Trust, enabling them also. So what does this mean to you? I know I've thrown a lot of information at you, and I kind of wanted to go through this and let's have a discussion around this and field some questions. But what does this mean? You don't need to be a GIS wizard for this ArcGIS platform. It's not as intimidating of a learning curve as you might think. You don't need a massive budget, to get onto this platform. It's as little as $5,000 a year. It could be $2,500 if you just need one user. So it's very, very low cost, but like a lot of return on investment. And you can start small and grow over time, like we've done. And I showed you some examples of where we've taken it over the, 5 to 6 years that we've really leaned into the ArcGIS Online platform. And you can offer interactive map-based deliverables to your clients really easily. This isn't, in this talk, it's not about becoming a GIS shop. It's about using GIS as a force multiplier for your work and the work that you're already doing, right? It's just an enabling tool. So I'd love to hear if you have any questions. But this has sort of been our experience. So we have helped implement and enable communities and small private practices, and helped with practical steps. But there is a multitude of resources that are available that you can learn on your own at your own pace. Yeah, so that's what I had. I have some more, but I thought maybe this would be a good break to answer any questions. I know that I mentioned quite a bit.
I just want to ask a clarifying question. What did you say Atlas Planning's field, practice field is, practice
Their
area?
hazard mitigation planning.
Okay. Didn't have that right. Okay, I
Robert?
see,
Yes.
I see a hand up from Megan, so,
Yeah.
if,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Robert, I was just, so we recently changed over to ArcGIS to use Story Maps Survey 123 from
Yeah.
Social Pinpoint. And how have you navigated? Everybody seems so worried about the credits and using credits. And how do you incorporate or anticipate those costs in like proposals, or making sure you're
Yeah.
not in there doing things erroneously and wasting all your credits?
Yeah, that is always a concern. That's what we always hear. And it is always a little bit of a mystery, right? Because it's built off of this credit-based system. But really the credits, really where the credits are is for storage, which is very cheap, right? There's not, I would say, like we probably have over close to 100 gigabytes of data on our ArcGIS online platform, and we probably spend maybe $100 or $200 a month on storage. But for like firms like an Atlas Planning or Amplify, they probably consume 50 credits a month, and a credit is roughly, you can buy a 100 credits for $120, so 12 cents a credit. So yeah, so like
Back up a little bit, because
yeah.
maybe I'm just archaic or something, but I'm not following what a credit is.
Okay, yeah, so because ArcGIS Online is an online platform, it's a subscription-based platform. You pay a subscription yearly to access the platform. With that subscription annually, you do get credits. You get about 1,000 credits. You can get 1,000 or 2,000 credits depending on how many users you have. And so when you put maps and apps and all the apps and maps that I've talked about up on ArcGIS Online, it's, there's storage, right? So they charge you for storage credits. It's very minimal for storage. Where it gets more pricey is when you run like analysis, um, and you publish big data sets. There is a small hit there, but I would say for a small practice, I'm going to go back to Amplified. I think their monthly cost on credits is probably around $30, about $30, and you can track that in the platform, so that you could assign a fee. Some firms don't like to transfer that fee, but if that's the way you do business, it would be part of your incidental part of your budget, and then you can track how much uh, the cost of storing information for that project is. It's very small though. It's very minimal. It's in perspective, it's a lot cheaper diving into the ArcGIS online platform, um, than buying the software and then training up the staff, right? So it's definitely the gateway in, and the most economical path to implementing GIS for a firm.
Okay, so it's analogous to having a certain amount of and on the phone to use up your
Yeah, like OneDrive, or or
Okay.
Google Drive, where you have to pay like if they give a certain amount for free, but if you get up over a certain amount, it's like $2, $5 a month for like those different tiers. It's that same that's the same model, right? It's sort of what they call a system as a service, and then
Okay.
you pay for your utilization of that service.
Okay. All right. Okay. That sounds good. There was another question. Robert, if you turn off your screen, I can see everybody's face,
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or I could actually turn you off, but better that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think Robert had a question after Megan. There were two Robs on here. I heard someone, I cut them off to take the question from Megan, so I'm trying
I
to
have a
figure.
question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, Robert. Amazing presentation. I see a lot of amazing work. But as urban designer, I do conceptual work. So this type of things, I worked for local governments before, and they all just use their own database. I just wondered how actually, can you probably just recap how do you get those data, basic data? Do you firm offer this type of
Yeah,
uh,
we do that too. Yeah, as part of the enablement, we do data collection and set up the data sets. But
yeah, like most of
yeah,
us do consulting work for different localities, throughout the US or maybe even abroad. But
yeah,
how do you get those basic data? I mean, the
yeah,
local.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's part of our work plan. So, like whenever you have a kickoff, you can have a kickoff meeting, you want to scope the project. What do you want to accomplish, right? Do you
Right.
need interactive maps, or do you need a story map, an interactive document, or
So you have to you
a
need to
website?
buy.
Yeah, and then we have like a data, like we basically ask for the data. Like, okay, can we get do you have your zoning layer in GIS? If they do, then okay, can you share that with us? And then we put it onto the system, and then configure the maps. A lot of times, a lot of municipalities, we're seeing very few municipalities anymore don't have some sort of GIS data, right? Because it is such a, a, a great tool when it comes to if you've done your general plan or your comp plan recently, it's most likely been done in GIS because it just.
Yes, I understand that now. My staff did all this work, so I didn't quite understand how they get the data, but now you answered it. But how we can actually start to do this, with you offer some services, but how regular small firm, or you said that it was restraining budget. So how we actually start? We start with what? Was it buying? Buying the software, or what do we start?
I have a couple of slides. I could talk to that. Let me go back and share my screen and then
recap. I didn't quite really understand every details, so maybe you can.
Okay. Go back to those. Share if you need me to help enable that. Let me know.
No, I think I got it. I think it's
okay.
there. Okay, so let me go to this next couple of slides here. So I first wanted to start with, there are online resources, right? There's free and low cost already, right? So Esri creates these massive open online courses, which are self-paced, free. Anybody can join. They have focuses on planning. They've done a planning one, and they have them active where everybody can join during that with that MOOC and go through the courses. But then they also have archived them so you could go back at your own pace and do them. And they've done it from climate sustainability, urban planning. They have ones around infrastructure and different courses on enabling these tools like the ArcGIS Online and the hub sites and the story maps. And so these are, and I can share this presentation with the group after the session, so that you can review it, because I provided some links of some examples in this and whatnot. but you know, you kind of asked Lou about like our approach, and yeah, we work with small firms, and we have what's called we're calling it a long range planning GIS bundle, and it comes with we're a Esri partner, and we can sell, you know, we can sell this subscription, or you can, you know, reach out to Esri and engage and do that on your own. But we provide, you know, user setup and provisioning, like kind of like how you asked, you know, if you need that assistance, you know, in knowledge transfer and training and pre-configuring, you know, workflows and applications to support, like if you're focused on downtown planning or comprehensive or general plans, we have, you know, some workflows that we've optimized just in our practice, because I don't know if I mentioned before, I would say 99.9% of the projects that we do touches GIS and touches this platform on our end. It's just such an easy tool to use, and but yeah, we do on call technical support. Yeah, we can resell and configure AGOL ArcGIS Online as an Esri partner, and some of the things that we can provide, and I'll just go into this. This is our long range bundle, right? It's sort of like all the tools and things you can do. A lot of these again are very advanced tools, but this is where you can go with this platform. We build toolkits, right, to empower your work, right? Again, we're planners, so we understand what the needs are, and we're well versed in implementing and working with workflows. You know, get you up on ArcGIS Online, deploy planning tools, you know, learn how to integrate, you know, build capacity at your own pace. So yeah, we've done that where we've like, okay, we got you set up. We stood up, and I mentioned this before, Orange County Housing Finance Trust, no GIS, set them up, did the knowledge transfer, and now they're off to the races and they're doing their own thing. GIS, no GIS background, just planners, just with a couple of workflows, and they get what they need done on that platform. Yeah, and let's see what else I have. Yeah, so yeah, again, this is just sort of going through like what we can provide, you know, story maps and surveys. Um, but you don't have to build it from scratch, right? There are a lot of templates on this platform that you can leverage and use. I mean, Esri has really, in this platform, has really leaned into urban planning. We are often asked by Esri to talk in this space and have a really good relationship with them and share our insights and feedback. And they're really leaning into it. They really see urban planning as a driver, right? And because really kind of everything starts with planning. All the other projects really, you know, it starts with planning, right? So that's the grassroots, the base. So yeah, and yeah, and so these are everything that we can provide. Yeah, we do that. Yeah, if that's something you're interested in, I'd be happy to talk.
Okay. Thank you. Let me make sure I'm not hogging the microphone here.
So I'll stop sharing.
We have another PPD conversation at the end of August, or hopefully we do, on outreach to underrepresented stakeholders. And
yeah,
I think there's a concern, at least that I have, and I know that Brad has some relevant experience with this issue, if you will, or potential problem. And it seems like the more high tech you get, the less high touch you have. And how do you address that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, hard to reach constituents. I mean, it's hard with the traditional approaches, and obviously, you know, there are challenges with, you know, digital approaches, right? Because having internet access is always a barrier. The good thing about this tool is a lot of people have, you know, smartphones. I mean, not everybody, but a lot of people do. And a lot of these applications can even be browsed over a cellular connection on your cell phone. So
Yeah,
we're finding some success there. But yeah, again, it's a delicate line, right? I mean, there's so much value in person community engagement, but the opportunity to extend that virtually for those that do have that capacity, we just find that to just be such a powerful tool.
My own experience with what do you call it, underserved communities is that almost everyone has a text that you can send a message to. So even if they don't have a computer, you can get the information or exchange information with them, and it's maybe less of a problem now or recently than it might have been, 5 or 6 years ago. But I would invite Brad to pitch in on that because I know he's got some experience with underrepresented communities.
So like, are you talking about, Stephen, are you talking about, or Stefan or Stephen? Stefan, right? Sorry.
Well, I was involved with promoting an urban trail, and to get the neighbors involved, the people in the public housing that it was adjoining to the trail, I pretty much had to communicate by text, put it that way.
Yeah, we have implemented with these tools also like text threads, where you can sign up and get regular updates of text about the project and information around that and provide feedback. So yeah, we've been able to implement that. It's not as straightforward and plug and play as a lot of the stuff that I presented today, but definitely there is some extensibility there, some enablement there.
I think in Detroit, especially during like COVID-19, but the engagement with people we worked with said we couldn't depend on mapping software, and even people in Detroit don't all have a phone to use, which always seemed puzzling to me, but they pretty much shut down any project during COVID. And even since COVID, they're pretty resistant to electronic polling and using story maps and other things, or if they do use it, they want it to be very simple and not as elaborate as some of the things you showed, because they say people don't have computers and so forth. So because everybody, it seems to me, has a phone, but they say at least the city of Detroit and some of the suburbs of Detroit don't have phones or access to phones. So.
Yeah, we worked in Glen Ellen and then also in Corktown, where we had those, that in that region there, where we had those issues where we had to go back to the more traditional kind of mailer approach. But again, with the mailers, then we would always tie back to like, well, if you do have access, there's a plethora of resources that you can also tap into. But yeah, it's definitely not a solution to everything, just another kind of tool to engage, some of those people, like I always say, like the upwardly mobile families that are very busy in the evenings, typically when these meetings are scheduled, that you would love to hear from that segment of the population, but they can't make it there. So giving them the opportunity to participate and provide feedback at their own time online, we find an immense value in that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the trend is positive no matter what. I mean, if you go back to design with nature and all that, you had to be a graphic artist in your own right to be able to communicate visually. And now, I think, for someone like me who my handwriting on a whiteboard is so bad that I had a landscape architect grab the Sharpie out of my hand during a presentation so that he could write what everyone would want to read. And we're past that because I can do it. If I do it on a screen, it looks like anybody did it on a screen. So Comic Sans, that kind of thing. So I think we're definitely heading in the right direction. And the broader the base, the better the product. I feel like a lot of stuff is, some planners and some engineers are like, don't challenge me. I'll tell you what I come up with. And, anything that you're doing right now is going to undermine that facade of expertise. So I'm all for it. But yeah, we still have issues, I think, niches and things that haven't been filled in. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're coming a long way with the GIS, and that was what I hoped that I conveyed in kind of my overview. I know I was pretty rapid fire, so apologies for getting in late again, but yeah, I mean, it's just, just the ease of getting into and adopting GIS technologies. You can create very simple stuff too, right? I know a lot of my examples were very much you know advanced, but you can do really simple stuff and even if you just had like physical like drawings, and you scan those or even took a picture, you can get them up into like the story map and have that available online. And it's literally like saving it on your computer and saying, clicking a button or dragging the picture and then dropping it in there and then writing some text and then you're good to go. So
the other one I want to bring up before we run out of time is that I'm a transportation planner and Brad's a transportation planner also. And most of what I saw you present was more from the planning department or development side. Do you do much work like in relation to transportation projects? Well, I'm thinking, large scale transportation projects. There's typically a very well rehearsed, polished presentation that's made on behalf of the project, and a lot of it is more designed to impress than to engage. I'll put it that way.
Right.
So, is there something like that that's in your arsenal that would?
Yeah, for sure. Like I had talked about ArcGIS Hub, right? These project websites, and they're a collaboration platform, right? So you can share ideas, you can share that narrative, and then have opportunities there for people to comment or provide ask questions about it. It's definitely a conversation tool.
Do you
But
have?
yeah.
Can you name some clients maybe that are more in the state DOT category?
So I'm trying to think of.
I'm also interested in clients that are in the anti-state DOT category, if there is one of
The
those.
anti-state. I did work, but it was with another firm. We worked with a couple of MPOs out here in California, the San Bernardino County Transit Authority, right? And we
Okay.
were doing it wasn't so much of a transportation driven, but it was a climate resiliency that focused on the transportation corridors, right? So in a emergency event or like a flooding or a earthquake, what are the
Oh.
vulnerabilities of that network to get people out of the
Oh
area?
yeah. Evacuation.
Right?
That's a whole area of practice.
So we used these tools to bring we did an analysis and then we shared that analysis in a story map and asked for feedback, and not just from the constituents but like the professionals, like the engineers that weren't working on the project but might have great insight or local knowledge or institutional knowledge that could be shared. So yeah, I mean, most of our stuff is urban planning related, land use based,
Yeah,
but
right.
we do, and we collaborate with firms all over the country. Like I mentioned previously, we work all over the country and now internationally, but we're a relatively small firm too. I mean, we're only 30 planners, right? So
Yeah.
we're not a big firm, but we really leverage teaming with like-sized firms, even smaller firms, that are specialists in a region, and we engage, like I mentioned, like the Atlas planning and the Amplify communities. Again, communities here in California, close to where I am.
Yeah.
Small teams. So yeah, teaming
Yeah,
with small teams.
there are lots of people who belong to the American Planning Association and work for what do you call it, mega firms, AECOM and
Yeah.
the likes. But the private practice division, it mainly consists of people with who work in firms of 10 or fewer individuals. If you work for WSP, they can take care of themselves, but our division is more for people that are not affiliated with large firms. Or
Yeah, I would say
maybe planners who work at engineering firms where they may be the off in a corner of a firm that does 90% of this work.
small potatoes, right? Yeah. The planners,
so
super stoked that we get a $500,000 project. And they're like, oh, that was Friday's change order on our infrastructure project.
Yeah, exactly. I mean that's I've been there, put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's a little after 4, and if anyone else has a comment or a concern, I'd like to hear it now, and then we can wrap it up. And I'm sorry we didn't get the times straightened out, but I can tell you that there were 2 or 3 other people on the call in our own private practice division leadership who have made the same error. I don't know, maybe it's a transition from virtual to in person, but 3 o'clock means different things to different people depending on where they are in the United States. So it's happened before and it'll probably happen again. So don't worry about it. And the other thing I'll tell you is that the conversations are, we try to give everyone a chance to introduce themselves, and you came in right after the last person introduced himself. So,
So right on time. So I timed it perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
And then my favorite thing is Orson Welles in The Third Man, where he doesn't come in until the movie is 90 minutes over, and he's the only person anyone remembers from that movie. So don't need to worry about that. But we appreciate it, and this is something that I've always wanted to know more about, and we hope to get you all involved more in the private practice vision as we go forward.
Yeah, that's great. Like I said, I would say most of our collaborations when we team with smaller firms because like you had said, the big firms say they can do it all. So it's like, okay, well, let's go. So we just kind of stay in our kind of, backyard with firms that are like our size or even, smaller, like you had mentioned, 5 or 6 staff, and just get the specialists and just build a team of specialists and not be the Death Star, right? So be agile and responsive.
Anything that limits the risks of uncertainty would probably be more valuable to a planner than to an engineer, because they've already eliminated uncertainty to the point where what that would be impossible for planners. So if the more automated we are, the less risk there is that goes along with planning practice, put it that way. So thank you.
Well, I hope what I've shared today was of value.
Yes, and could you send me a link or something like that to the presentation?
Absolutely. Okay. I will. And yeah, if anybody has any more questions in the group, just feel free. My email will be obviously attached to the email I'm sending you, but then it's also in the presentation, and I'm happy to jump on and discuss where we can collaborate, or if you want any kind of enablement, what that pathway is and where we can help. Happy to do it. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. We will follow up on that. Okay. Thanks very much. And all have a great holiday weekend, and see you again. Well, actually next week, not next month, hopefully, at the Ohio webinar on the Housing Supply Accelerator. And that starts at 1 o'clock Eastern time, right, Brad?
Right.
Okay.
Then we also have another
Vince,
webinar on multimodal transportation. Vince, maybe you can remind them of that too.
Yeah, that's 1 o'clock right after that.
June 5th, 1 o'clock, as Brad said, multimodal transportation.
And that's a Thursday. Yep.
So it's a Thursday. We try to go Fridays, but that was the best day we can get with the Ohio planning chapter.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is going to be next week. There'll be PPD wall to wall. All right. Well, take care. Thank you all.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.